Welcome to The Cynical Developer, the podcast that helps you to improve your development knowledge and career through explaining the latest and greatest in development technology and providing you with what you need to succeed as a developer. We're taking a different approach to this week's show. There's no guest, it's just me on my own, sat here talking to you guys and girls. The aim of the podcast is to help you to improve your development knowledge and career through knowing about the latest technologies out there. But some of you don't even have a career in programming and you need to know how to get it started. And that's where these sort of shows are going to come in, I'd hope. So knowing about all the tech is great, but I get asked a lot about how to get into programming, and listening to a couple of programming geeks talking about certain frameworks or technologies or certain websites out there. It does nothing for the people out there that don't know anything. They've got no clue what's going on because they don't even know the basics of programming or where to get started. So I'm going to try and make this a regular thing. Every other week in between the interviews, I want to cover topics from where to start, what route you can go with career, how to get yourself out there, and how to be more than a 9-to-5 programmer. If you are a 9-to-5 programmer, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I've got a day job as well as hosting this podcast. This podcast doesn't pay my bills, so I've got to pay it somehow. But it's not where my passion stops. I want to do more. I want to give that a little bit back to the community and to you people out there, and that's where my podcast comes in. So we're going to follow a system of bullet points for the series. Each episode will be broken down into simple points, and then I'll expand on each of those. So without further ado, let's kick off today's episode with becoming a developer. So this episode's broken down into points which you need to understand, and we'll address each. Number 1, don't try and learn everything straight away. 2, get involved in local tech communities. 3, build something useful. 4, find your splinter, your Yoda, your Mr. Miyagi, or your rock star. In short, find a mentor, someone that can help you. 5, use the internet to learn. And 6, experiment, not with recreational drugs or anything like that. Find yourself a project and get on with that. So point 1, don't try and learn everything. The first mistake people make is wanting to know everything all at once. And you don't need to know it all at once. It's just not possible either. There's so much out there and everything changes so quickly. You're going to be fighting a losing battle straight away. It's not about what language you choose either. It's about understanding how programming works to become a good developer. It has little to nothing to do with which technology you decide on either. It's about learning the basics. And the basics can be different between different languages, but I'm getting a bit complex with this. It's about how to apply those basics to solve your problem. Now, I'm a .NET developer, but I can develop in many other languages. .NET Framework covers a lot of problem areas, such as Windows, websites, mobile. More recently, it's become truly cross-platform with .NET Core, Xamarin, and Unity. A lot of that success is down to the Mono framework. Now, I personally don't know all the languages that are in the framework. You can go and find lists of them on the internet. There's loads of them in the .NET framework. But I stick with C#, and when I have to, I'll write VB.NET. Now, I'm not saying to rush out and become a .NET developer, far from it. You need to have a play around, find the languages you like. Don't restrict yourself to a single language or a single stack if you can. There are plenty to choose from. Now, I've mentioned C# and VB.NET. There's also F#, Java, Ruby, Python, or Go. All have their pros and cons. They're all good for things and they're not good for other things. There's a lot of jobs out there for all of them, and there's many, many more languages. As well as fully fledged programming languages like those that I've just mentioned, there's scripting languages. And if you want to be a web developer, JavaScript is a must to get to grips with. And then you can look at frameworks like jQuery, AngularJS, React.js, Bootstrap. There's loads of them out there. But please don't just go out there and learn one of those frameworks for JavaScript. Learn JavaScript too, because you're going to need it. Now, you don't need to have all the answers all the time. One of the biggest things that I can say that will help you as a junior developer is always ask, how does this work? Don't sit there and just pretend that you know, because assuming just makes an ass out of you and me, and it's going to become a problem for you, and people are not going to respect you for just going along with what they're saying and then sitting there and struggling. So admit when you don't know. When you're starting out coding it is a daunting task, but you don't need to worry about knowing everything, because you never will. But having an understanding of the basics is the best place to start. Also knowing the difference between front-end and back-end and databases, and that's a must. Point 2 is getting involved in tech communities. And what this is about getting out there, getting involved It doesn't mean you have to go out there and write articles for websites and things like that. It can simply be reading and commenting or just lurking on some websites, but get yourself out there and go and read about what's happening online. Get on Twitter and things. Find the people that are influencing the community and the tech industry and see what they're saying. Maybe have some input on it. Ask some questions to them. It's what it's there for. Have a look around on social media. So I mentioned Twitter. Facebook groups. There are Facebook groups out there for .NET developers. There's groups out there for C# developers, for C developers. They're not that active on there, but there are some there. LinkedIn is also quite good. It's more professional than Facebook. Lidnug's quite a good one. That's a LinkedIn.NET user group. Now, yes, a lot of what I'm going to talk about is .NET focused because that's where my expertise lies, but there are other groups on there for other technologies as well. Reddit, the cesspool of the internet where everything that you talk about is going to be wrong, but there are some gems out there. And if you can hack through all the detritus that's out there, then you probably get somewhere. Slack channels as well is great. Nice interactive chat with professional developers. The guys over at codingblocks.net, I mentioned it before on the show, they've got a Slack channel. Get over there. It's full of experienced developers and new developers and loads of channels to ask different questions about databases, front ends, you name it, they can do it. Attending seminars and conferences. Some of the big ones are really expensive. I'm not telling you to go and pay out loads of money to go to them. I haven't made it to any of the bigger events for that exact reason. But there's a lot of them out there that are cheap and even free. So give it a Google Bing and see what's happening in your area or at least within some commuting distance. Also have a look on meetup.com and eventbrite.com. They're social event applications, and Microsoft and people like that do list them on there, so you can buy tickets through them as well. So it's great. Local tech meetups, a great place to meet like-minded people in all stages of the career. So you're going to find juniors, you're going to find seniors, you're going to find architects and business leaders and everything. They all come along because they've all got this interest in technology. And you get to listen to them talk about the technology they're building. Maybe it's technology that they just know about. They don't always have to be involved in it. But you're going to get a lot out of that. And you'll realise that they're just normal people. They're not these superhuman coding machines that we think they are from their personas online. So you're going to learn a lot out of that. Again, take a look at meetup.com and Eventbrite or Google Bing it. There are definitely communities out there for you to get involved with. Point 3, building something useful. So this sounds like an impossible task. You don't yet even know how to code, and here I am telling you, go and build something. Well, the fact is, this is the best way to learn programming, full stop. Set out a project idea that you want to do, break those features down into smaller tasks, and then tackle them one at a time. Go out there and, Google Bing the issue that you're looking at, the thing that you want to achieve. It's going to be out there, and someone's going to have probably solved it for you, but you'll learn. Small little steps, one at a time. One project I like to give to brand new, squeaky clean junior developers who haven't been twisted and tainted by the real world of the coding hell is an MP3 digital download website. It's considered an old platform now, but it gives an overview of the main skills that you'll need to learn, especially to be a web developer. It's a web front end, so that's your website. That could be integrated with a user and admin area, or they could be separate applications, depends how you want to split it out. APIs, depending on which front-end technology you use. Because if you use one of the frameworks, then you'll need APIs to talk to, but you might do something like MVC, Microsoft MVC, which that API isn't as needed in that instance. You'll have a back-end where all your code, or where the main part of your code goes, or your business logic, a database where you store all your information. You're going to have lots of features in there, like user login, registration, user permission, security for download files, because you don't want people to be able to download the MP3 files without having permissions because they haven't bought them. You've got a basket. They can upload files, so they could upload files to their profile for their avatar. Integration with third parties like payment gateways. So start with something like PayPal or Stripe, something quite simple to work with. Logins via Facebook or Twitter, they're good. Adds a little bit more integration with those third parties, gives you a little bit more security. People don't have to register with you directly, and they can log in with a simple click if they're already logged into one of their social media platforms. Financial transactions, if you integrate with PayPal or Stripe, you've got some financial experience then. And login, make sure that you log the transactions that are happening, changes in your website, all that sort of stuff. And each of those points, in one way, shape or form, every application that you build will probably have something to do with it. So it's a nice little project, and you always take it to the person that's your mentor that you found, maybe your friend or whatever, and ask them, show them what you're doing, and say, do you think this is right? Do you not think that's right? Have a look online, see what other people have done to achieve the same solution. Point 4 is to find your splinter, your yoga or your Mr. Miyagi. So find yourself a mentor. That's going to help you. So find someone who writes code, a friend, a family member, your brother's friends, cousin's friend, anyone around you like that. They're going to know how to code. They're possibly a little bit ahead of you in their career, maybe a lot further ahead of you in their career. But these people are always open to helping others. So some of you are probably thinking, I don't know anybody. All my friends and family work in factories or retail or management or some completely unrelated area. Well, if there is anyone locally, find people online. You can find them on YouTube and places like that. People put free courses out there, and free is the word. They're not charging you anything for it. You can jump onto YouTube and follow along, stop it, come back to it, learn at your own pace. Another good platform for this is liveincode.tv. These guys and girls come on and they take you through step-by-step building the projects, and it's fantastic, and it's done live. These people are fantastically brave, is the only way I could really describe them, because it's not something that I could bring myself to do quite yet. Too self-conscious, I think, of the code that I write. One of the friends of the show, Paul Seal, he's done a fantastic live coding course. He's taken a free HTML template and converted that into a dynamic Umbrico CMS website. He does this over 11 episodes, and if you follow along, you take these free HTML5 templates, and at the end of it, you've got a working website and blog that works in Umbrico. It's really good. I followed along the course, and I built the Cynical Developer website from scratch in around 5 days. Yeah, I know how to write code, but I didn't know how to use Umbrico. I haven't used it for years. It was very, very different when I used it, and it's changed a lot. It's a lot nicer to use now. And Paul's video showed me how to do it. A mentor will be able to help you get things moving faster as well. If you're struggling on your own, it's a lot harder. So it's worth looking into finding somebody out there that can help you. And even talk to these people at the meetups that we mentioned earlier. They're going to help you in there. There's going to be somebody, at least one person that's friendly enough to give you a helping hand. And point 5 was use the internet to learn. And we've already talked about YouTube. We mentioned live coding TV. With Pluralsight. Now, this is a paid service. You pay monthly for it. But this is very similar to YouTube. Loads of videos, loads of courses. But they go into a lot more depth than most of the YouTube courses and things that are out there. They cover everything. Everything from unit testing frameworks to writing code to systems to different technologies. I think there's even courses out there on writing books and plays and things like that. But it's got so much content in there. And it's always pretty high quality, especially the newer stuff. They've tightened up all their acceptance criteria, so the people that are doing courses out there really know their stuff. That's pretty good. You've got websites like code.org. Now, this is aimed at kids, but don't be put off of the fact that it's aimed at kids. They teach you the basics about objects and how objects talk to each other and methods and chaining methods together. Just because you're an adult, you can still learn in the same way that kids do. And never feel that you are above anyone else in the way that you learn. Because if you do that, programming really isn't for you, because every day is a school day with programming. You're going to learn something new every single day. I've been doing this for over 10 years and I still learn new things every day. Codewars.com, once you've got a little bit of coding experience under your belt, you can jump on there and they do these little things called katars, and they're little programming problems that you need to solve. And once you've solved them, it shows you how other people have solved them. So you can see, maybe you did yours better than that, or they did it a little bit of a different way, and you can sort of gauge why they did it a different way. So you learn different programming styles from things like that. Go and read blogs. Get out there. There's thousands of blogs online. Keep up to date with what's going on. Podcasts like this one. I'm trying to help you get going. There's a lot of other podcasts out there that will let you know about other technologies and other events and things that are coming up. They might not dive into a massive amount of depth on these products, but you then know that they're out there. So when somebody comes to you and say, I've got X, Y, and Z problem, you can, I haven't come across it before, I've not fixed it, but I know of a product or a technology which will sort that problem out for you, and I'll go and have a look to see how I utilize that to fix your problem. Because it's not always knowing exactly how to do it, but it's knowing how to find the answer to the solution. Stack Overflow, probably the number one website that you are going to need when learning to code on any given day. If you come up against a problem, have a look on Stack Overflow. The answer's probably on there. If it's not, or not answered in the way that solves your problem, ask a question. It's normally answered within minutes, sometimes quicker, depending on your time zones. But absolutely fantastic resource at stackoverflow.com. And they also do a myriad of other websites for things like database administration and systems administration and cooking and barbecuing and all sorts of different ones. So as well as looking at all these websites as well, read some real books. Yes, books go out of date, but we're talking about learning the basics here. The fundamentals of programming, what a variable is, how to produce a method, how they work together. That stuff very rarely ever changes, if ever. I doubt it'll ever will change. Ebooks as well. There are free ebooks online. You could go on Amazon and download digital books on there, get them on a Kindle. You know, they're really good, nice and lightweight, rather than carrying around a 4,000-page tech book. Or even audiobooks. So you can take a look at Amazon's Audible. I've got a link to that, cynicaldeveloper.com/audible. You can go on there and get a free audiobook through that link. But you can listen to these books then while you're commuting and you're not lugging a book around. It's pretty good. Once you get used to listening to audiobooks and podcasts, you can up the speed. So you can listen to them at double time and triple time. So you get through them a lot faster than you do if you were reading them. I'm quite a slow reader, but I can listen really quickly. I listen to a lot of my podcasts on 2.5 to 2.7 times speed. I'm working my way up to 3 times, but I can't read anywhere near that quickly. So that's a really good resource. I really enjoy Audible. I get a lot of books off there. Point 6. I already mentioned briefly about making stuff yourself. But so point 6 is experiment. Set yourself a project to do. Find an idea that you want to explore, build something, and put it online. Somewhere like github.com, or build yourself a website for yourself on yourname.com or wherever. Get involved in open source software. So github.com's full of open source software you can go in and have a look at. You don't have to contribute to any of these projects straight away, but go and have a look at them. Go read the code, see how they solve their problems. Use them as code examples to improve your skills and solve your problems. But, it's there. Utilize that resource. Share your challenges and how you came up with your solutions. Stick it on your website, on a blog. Now, I know what you're saying. I don't know anything, so why should I even write my own blog? Well, because there's always going to be somebody 2, 3, 4, even 5 steps behind you struggling with the same things that you're struggling with now. So why not show them how to fix it, put it on a blog, and it's there then for forever. Well, as long as the blog's live. It also acts as a reference for yourself. You'll undoubtedly come up against the same issue again and again and again in the future. And you'll think, I've had this problem before, but how did I solve it? I can't remember. But if you put it in your blog, the answer's there already for you. You just go, I know, it's in my blog. I'm going to have a look. Yeah, there it is. This is what I did. And you'll solve it really quickly. And if you're feeling really brave, you could go and build something for a friend or a friend of the family or a family member that's got a business that has a problem. Go and build them a website or maybe some sort of auditing bit of software. Just something to get your skills out there. And it also sort of ties in this GitHub stuff and things like that for when you go to get a job once you're more comfortable in your skills, that you've got some evidence out there. And we're going to cover that sort of stuff. And we're going to cover jobs and stuff like that more in the next episode. So to recap over the points that I've made in today's episode. 1, don't try and learn everything at once. 2, get involved with the tech communities, your local meetups and things. 3, build something useful that'll teach you, because you're going to learn a lot from that. 4, find your Splinter, your Yoda, your Mr. Miyagi, and use them, utilize them to the best of your abilities. Ask them all the stupid questions. If you can't find somebody and you're not sure, ask me, and I'll point you in the direction somebody knows, because I probably don't bloody know. 5, use the internet to learn. It's a massive resource. There's loads of stuff out there that you can learn from, blogs and stuff like that. 6, experiment. Go out there, build something, let it fail, build it again, go and have a look at other people doing it, all links in together. So I'm hoping that you've gained something from this, or you're able to pass this on to somebody who will. It's all about spreading the love for code. So next time we'll be talking about how to land your first job as a developer. And until then, thanks. You've been listening to The Cynical Developer. I'm James Stoddart, and this episode was about becoming a developer. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review on your favourite podcast platform and help The Cynical Developer to grow by increasing its audience. If you have any questions about this or any other episode, then drop us an email, a tweet, or leave a comment on the website, where you can find all the resource links and show notes for each episode.